Blender Maniacs. To this part of the tutorial series on getting started, we're going to take a look at texturing within Blender. So far we have our scene which we've added materials to. It looks pretty sick, I gotta say. It looks pretty sick. So now we're going to take a look at texturing, and we're going to texture our floor. Now texturing allows for you, right now we have basic materials, it's all kind of one color. Texturing allows for you to add image textures of things and project them onto your objects. So for example, for a floor, you could have a hardwood floor, you could have a building, a brick wall building with all the crevices and dirt and all the things that you have in real life. So basically you're taking an image texture and you're projecting it onto your 3D object so that it looks more lifelike or has more detail without actually having to model and make all that detail. So here we're going to be texturing our floor, and the way we're going to do that, first going to go to object mode here, or solid view as well. And first thing we need to do is of course download our texture. So go over here, open your browser of choice, and we're going to go to textures.com. Let me go back a little bit because I'm already on the texture. So go to textures.com, and once you're here, this is an awesome website, by the way, where there's a bunch of free textures. All you have to do is create, you guessed it, a free account, and you can download some awesome textures, so I highly recommend it. And once you've created that account, just search under the search bar, search for floor. And the texture that we're going to be using, if you scroll down a little bit, is this one right here. Pretty sick, isn't it? Looks pretty futuristic and awesome. So go ahead and click that, and boom. Now you can see over here, this is the main texture, which is just this one right here. Then we have different parts of the texture, such as the height, normal map, metallic, roughness, and the ambient occlusion. Ambient occlusion. I'm sounding French now. All right, it's kind of late here, guys. It's almost like midnight. Anyways, I'm too excited though. So this is the one that you're going to be using for the main definition of it and the main texture and detail of the image. And then these other textures, I actually use them in the final scene, which is in the thumbnail of the videos. So in another tutorial that's on the website, I actually go into using some of these other textures in conjunction with this one to add more detail. Because right now, when we're going to add this, it's just going to look kind of like a flat floor, a flat image, even though it's bumps. And what these other images allow for you to do is to give the illusion that there's actually bumps to it, etc. Which I won't get into now, but check out that other tutorial. So for now, all you have to do is go ahead and download the small one right here. Just log into download, click on it, and it will download and just save it to your computer. Cool. Once you've done that, go back to Blender. Select your floor, and let's go to the Materials tab, add a new material, and we're going to name it Roof. No, I'm just kidding. We're going to name it Floor. And then we want to change it to Principled Shader. And instead of changing it or changing the base color, what we're going to do is under Base Color right here, we're going to click on this little dot, and we're going to select Image Texture. Now you can see here you have a bunch of different texture options: brick, gradient, sky, and you might be familiar with some of these if you use Photoshop or another, photo editing software. But we're going to be using Image Texture, which is the one that's used, you guessed it, 95% of the time, and that's a fact. So Image Texture, let's select that. And now if we go to Rendered View, by going down here, Rendered, perfect. It looks exactly like we want. Not really. So that's kind of an interesting look, but not what we're going for. Obviously we have the right image, so what's going on? Well, actually we don't have the image yet is what I meant to say. But what we have selected image, but we haven't loaded our image yet. So what we want to do is click on Open, go to wherever you saved your image, and go ahead and open it. And now, interesting. Still, I mean, it looks better because it's the dark gray instead of a bright purple pink, but it's still not the image that we have, even though right here it is the image. Why is that? Well, the reason is because we have to unwrap our object. And unwrapping, if we go to solid mode right here, is basically taking this object and projecting it onto a two-dimensional image. So let's go ahead and do it, and you'll see exactly what I mean. We're going to change the second window over here from the 3D view to UV image editor. And then hitting tab, we're going to then hit the A key twice if you need to have everything selected. And then go ahead and hit the U key, and you can see UV mapping. And once you hit U, go ahead and click on unwrap. And basically what it's done is it's now taken all of these faces and projected them as a two-dimensional layout right here onto this image. However, if we go to rendered view, you could see that right here we have the image here, but we don't have it here, so it's a little confusing. So all you have to do is click right here and select the texture image, and you can see that now it is projected onto there. And if we go ahead and let's change this to another viewport shading, we're going to change it to textured because we could actually see the texture and be in edit mode at the same time, which is a lot easier. Not like rendered mode, which can be a little tricky. If I select this top face by just right clicking it, and then over here have everything selected, and once again this is kind of like edit mode, you could see that you have the vertices, and you do not want to do this, by the way, because it's going to completely distort your image. But if you select everything with the A key, you can do this if you want, because this is completely fine. You can see the image is still nicely positioned or not distorted. But again, don't confirm this because you want to leave it centered. But you can see that this is the top of it. The side right here has been projected as well. Now right here it's stretched because this right here is a rectangle. However, over here it's displayed as a square. So it doesn't, so that's why it's stretched. Now a way that we could fix this is if we hit 1 to go into front view, and then if we hit U and unwrap, you could see that it unwraps it as a rectangle, or as it is, because we selected it individually. Another option you could do is if you hit U and you could select project from view. This gives you a slightly different one as it projects it exactly from the view that you're seeing. So if you're viewing it from here, keep in mind that it will project it from that view and it will completely distort it because that is how you're viewing it. So you want to be looking at it directly face on. And then just go ahead and hit U, project from view, or U and unwrap. I'm just going to hit U and unwrap for now. Then going to the side view, I'm going to select this one as well. U, unwrap. And then this one, U, unwrap, so that it is not stretched. Again, for the most part, you want the size and shape of this to match the size and shape of this. So obviously, if I hit S and Y to scale this up, you will see that it completely deforms this because it's not how it displays here. So there we go. Now, a couple of things. First off, these are way too big. I want them a little bit smaller. So if you saw on the website over here, you can see that this image is actually a seamless image, meaning that it could be repeated over and over and over again without having seams in it, which is beautiful because what we're going to do is hit the A key to select everything here. And then if we hit the S key, this image right here just shows up as the standard image, but actually in the background, it's repeated basically infinite amount of times. So you could imagine this image repeated billions of times everywhere. So it's pretty much everywhere. So if we scale this up, you will see that you could actually scale this up and it repeats it seamlessly. So I'm going to scale it up to about here. And now we have the floor, which is pretty awesome. Now, if you do not have a seamless image, you will see seams or cuts wherever it starts to repeat the image. So again, if you plan on doing this, make sure you have a seamless image or make it seamless. And a seam will look something like this. You can see that from here to here, it doesn't repeat perfectly. You can see that these ones are here and then this one is here and it kind of cuts into it. which you probably wouldn't expect it to be seamless anyways because it's kind of a solid object, so it might not be seamless here. But in another tutorial on the website, I will show you how to actually add what are called seams to your objects so that you could UV unwrap them even better, and you could UV unwrap them so that they flow even nicer and so that the textures flow even nicer. But for this tutorial, I'm showing you basic texturing and UV unwrapping, and also I know that I'm only going to be showing the top of this platform, so I don't even need to worry about this right here. I could even delete these faces if I want. Or what you could do, you could also, go in edit mode, alt right click this loop right here and add a new material and just make this completely solid gray or solid black or whatnot and have it a completely different style than the top of it. And there we have it. Now if I go to rendered view, you can see our texture there. It's looking pretty sweet. And a couple things that we could do as well. If we go over here, we could increase the roughness as well to not make it so shiny, or decrease it to make it shiny. Up to you. But again, I would also, depending on the material, you could also make it metallic material and increase the roughness so that it's not so shiny. And that's probably how I will go about with it. Obviously, it's a metal material, so I'm going to make it metallic and increase the roughness to about there. I don't really want it shiny, although that does look cool, I gotta say. That looks pretty cool. I'm kind of the abstract kind of person, so I like to, Anyways, so I'm going to put it to about there. Cool. Well, very well done on that. Again, check out the other tutorial where I show you how to do seams, and also look at the other tutorial because right now you can see that although these are raised bumps on the texture, you can see that if I start to get here with my camera angle, it looks very flat. Like, it looks very flat and bland. And in another tutorial, I actually show you how to use those other image maps that are on this website right here, such as these right here, the normal and the height. And I show you how to add these to give it more realism, to give it bumps, and to make it look like these are actually sticking up out of the ground instead of just looking flat like this. Again, that's in the other tutorial. It's probably called something like bump mapping or normal mapping or texture mapping or something like that. I'll try to link it in the description here. And with that, that is how you texture an object. Pretty simple. You add a material, you change it to principled, you make it an image texture, you load in that image, and then you hit tab, UV unwrap your object onto that image, and you are good to go. And once again, that is very basic texturing. For the most part, once you get more advanced, you will be adding those other image textures to give it more realism to it, such as the bumps and the reflection and everything. So definitely check out that video. And with that, let's move on to the next one. Make sure to like this video, comment, check out the community. Look forward to seeing you guys' work. Make sure to share your stuff. I love seeing what you guys create. Check out the contest that's going on. And yeah, with that, I'll see you in the next tutorial. We're going to take a look at lighting and then animation and then finally rendering, I believe. So we're almost there. Very well done. Ciao for now. Au revoir. Love you guys. BlenderMania3D.com. Peace out. Ciao.